Hey, Damien here for Automotive Superstore. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install a rear view camera. Now, it's fairly straightforward, but there are a couple of things you can get hooked up on if you're not really sure what you're doing. Let's dive in. Now the camera I'm going to install this time around is the Gator G55CL. It's an affordable standard definition camera. By that it connects via a standard type of yellow RCA like that. The wiring loom that comes with this runs from the front to the back of the car. At one end you've got your RCA input to the back of the head unit. Just make sure you plug it into the camera input, not the video input or output for an external source. It's got to be the reverse camera input. You've got a red wire at this end. At the other end, you have this little proprietary connector here that plugs into the camera like so. This is just made small to make it easier for this to pass through a hole you're going to have to drill in the car somewhere to run that through from outside the car to inside the car. This end of the loom also has another red and black wire. Now the manual, which you'll find for any of the cameras you grab, it says clearly connect either the red wire of this end or the red wire of this end, not both. What it means is at this end, this where your head unit is, you're going to be able to find a switched accessory 12 volt charged wire somewhere. Now for example, the most common place is you'll find yellow is permanent power, black is earth, and then red is the switch power. You don't want to use the yellow because you don't want the camera to be on 24/7, otherwise it'll flatten the battery. Alternatively, if your car does not have an easily found switched 12 volts at the front, and some cars just don't, at the rear of the car you'll have your reverse light, and that's what these are for. I'll show you that during installation, how to wire that up in case that's your application. But anyway, let's just have a look at how it wires up to the head unit itself. I'll just use the front 12 volt triggered one. We just grab our lead and plug our camera in. We grab our RCA and plug it into the camera input. Now on the back of all of the head units that you're going to be using, there's going to be a reverse trigger wire that's going to be purple. Its job is to tell the head unit that the camera's turned on and you've put it in reverse, and so it'll switch the screen to look at the camera. For that it needs to see a 12 volt signal. It's going to be part of the plug-in loom system you have with one of your AirPro, say, wiring looms, or you need to find a reverse switching light somewhere in the car, might be behind the dashboard. In some cases, you may even need to run a wire from a reverse light in the back of the car to the front. That's got to see 12 volts, so I'm just going to plug that into my power supply here, and you'll see the screen on the front here will switch to say it's looking at the camera, but there's no input signal yet because I haven't turned the camera on. Last but not least, the little red wire that goes to the loom itself. If I've got this on a switch source at the front, if I just touch this to my power supply, you'll see my camera there turns on. So there's our camera. Simple as that. Let's get it installed. So let's start at the back of the car and choose a spot to mount the camera. Now ideally on this car, I think the place to mount it's up under the tailgate here. It's a steel tailgate. It's nice and sturdy to mount to. I've had to remove the trim of the tailgate on the back side as well as down there so the wire can run down and through the grommet. I've got this little lip to be mindful of as well, and you've got to check around the back of your car to see what obstruction is going to be in the way of your camera. But this one, if I mount there, I think that's going to be just about ideal. That means I need to drill a hole through this. You may have a license plate light that's got a plastic bezel in there that you might be able to go through, make life a bit easier for you, but in this case I've got to drill through, and to fit that connector through there, it's going to be a 6mm drill bit. All right, so I'm just going to mark where I've got a drill to do the mounting screws. I'm going to run this cable along a pre-existing cable, and I'm just going to cable tie it off every few centimeters just to make it nice and neat. And next is to run it through the grommet that goes from the tailgate through here and through here. Now you might need a coat hanger to push through to get it through, but it just takes a little bit of time and patience. So now we've got that cable run through inside the car. Here is the other loom, and I have one side that's going to the RCA connection running towards the front of the car, and then the red and the white, and run those down into the quarter panel here to go to the tail light, because in my particular instance, I'm going to need to get the trigger signal from the reverse light. So let's start with just plugging this in. I'm just going to get some tape and tape that up so that it stays there. So on this car, the reverse light obviously is this one here. Now, what I've done is I've taken the other tail light out and I've just pulled it apart so I can show you how this works. Here are the traces for the positive and negative for the reverse light. And if I just pull those out, I can trace that back to the wires here, and it's actually blue is positive and brown is the earth for all of the tail lights. So if I follow that inside, that loom comes in here, and I can see down here, follow the loom through, and here is blue and here is brown, and I've just stripped those back, and I'm going to connect the red onto the blue and the black onto the brown, and that gives us our turn on for the camera. So the back all back together again now. Here's our remaining end with our RCA. Got that running along here. It's going to run down the A-pillar, through here, underneath the dashboard, and come out where the head unit is. I've already taken that out, ready to go. All right, last part now. It's simply just connect the RCA to the camera input on the screen. We'll just tuck the wires in for the moment. Sit him there. All right, let's put it in reverse. And it works, fantastic. Awesome, all done. And so that's how you install a rear view camera. If you want to grab one for yourself, there'll be a link down below. While you're down there, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.